ladies and gentlemen, this is Eddie Marcus once again. And I'm speaking on the same Sunday that I spoke to you about thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, asking you, the American people, to change your mind about all of the bull and all of the lies that we have accepted as facts, and that we take our power back and take it out of the politicians' hand by deciding and determining for ourselves that we are going to make sure that survival of the fittest, not only, but for survival for everybody on earth, based upon those things that are required of us individually, be met. But I also wanted to say to those of you who might say, how you gonna do it? I will tell you. But first, before I tell you that, I notice people are constantly saying now that they want to interject a new fear. ISIS is not enough. So they want to project that the possibilities of Russia and the United States bumping heads again might occur, a reason for what they call a Cold War rhetoric. But I tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, don't you fear. Do not fear at all. Don't even think about it. Because there will not be a war between Russia and the United States. If there were a war, then all human beings on earth basically would be annihilated. Because Russia would push the bomb and we would push the bomb. And these bombs are big bombs, and they are dynamic bombs, and they can wipe out a whole earth as far as people are concerned. I don't want to destroy the earth, but to destroy humankind. So don't even focus on that bull. Now, to those of you who say how you're going to create heaven on earth, let me tell you this. When heaven was created, when earth was created, we were told that God, the Creator, put a man on it. We heard that he added a woman to it. Now, who did the earth belong to before God put human beings on it? Well, it belonged to God. You would agree, wouldn't you? When he put Adam and Eve, or a man and a woman on it, who did the earth belong to? It still belonged to God. Sure, Adam and Eve had responsibilities in it, but who did it belong to? So I say to you, what was good and what was in the beginning is the same in the end. Who made it? Who made the earth? God. Who stole the earth? Humankind. By all of the intricacies that we are familiar with how this is done. But they stole it. It doesn't belong to them. Everything belongs to God. So, how do we meet all of the needs of the human race? First of all, we have to acknowledge that nothing belongs to any of us except our will to do for good or to do for evil. The earth still belongs to God. And the goodness in us is a tool to be used for the manifestation of God's goodness. Now, everything belongs to God. The oil companies don't own the oil. That's a part of a rich man's scheme. That's a con game. All of the resources of the earth, none of them belong to anybody but God. All of the resources. Man's ability to do good, all of that belongs to God. His ability to be able to create and manifest those goods and services for survival for the human race. Those gifts belong to God. Now, man can choose to do evil with them as they've always done, but everything has always belonged to God. When we say the banks and all of that's a part of the rich man's scheme, that's all a con game. That's all a scam. That's a enron. That's a, I can't think of the greatest name, a greater name to call it, just a straight up scam. Money has nothing to do with life, real life. It's all has to do with exploitation. That's all it's about. Business is all about exploitation. Not the true business. The true business would be to take care of those essentials necessary for life. But we know that business today in the world is about profit. And that has nothing to do with truth as far as lives are concerned. They use it because people need it, and yet they exploit them with the money. You got the money, you can get it. You don't have the money, you can't get it. Or if everybody got the money, then what they do is to say, well, demand and supply. The supply is small, so now we still got to get the money. So what you used to pay $1 for now costs you $500 because it's all about money. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you know what I'm saying to you is true. You might think that the oil companies and the people who've stolen all of these different minerals and resources of the earth will not give them up. I tell you what, the world come to an end today. Who owns all the resources of the earth? The same power that made it, God. And the resources that you have as individuals, you lose your mind today or lose your sight, what good is those resources? Or what good are those resources? Not good enough for anything. So when you look at the facts, everything still belongs to God. Now, we as a people have the power and the authority at this date and at this time to reclaim those things, to give them back to God, and to make sure that they are used for the benefit of thy will being done on earth as it is in heaven, as it was created to do. Now, I can't emphasize enough to say that whether you are just blind, and you are just blind. I asked the question once, and I asked you this question. If everybody in the world is blind, and the rules and regulations that govern humankind on this earth are for blind people, one day some people wake up in different parts of the world. In other words, their eyes are open. They can see what they used to couldn't see. Or their spiritual eye, their spiritual mind is open, and they can see beyond the carnality of what we have been exposed to. Are you supposed to walk around and act like you're blind, or do the things that humans have been doing all the time without insight of truth? Or are you supposed to be the representation of people that can see, the representation whose minds have been opened and can know truth from lies? How are you supposed to act? Are you still supposed to walk around with your sight acting like you're blind because the rules have been made and you got to follow those blind rules? Or you got to walk around like you don't have spiritual insight to know the truth? You got to continue to accept the lies, because if you don't accept the lies, they will punish you? Well, if truth is going to prevail, if sight is going to prevail, then it must be given life. Oh yes, they might persecute you for it, but I guarantee maybe your kids might even be persecuted. But your grandkids, your great-grandkids, they stand a closeness of living the truth, living the light. If you do nothing, then you are responsible for the nothingness of your children, of your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren, and so on and so forth. So if you say, how are you going to prepare and create heaven on earth? You change your minds. Some people call it being born again, knowing the truth from the lie, following the truth master and not the master of the lie. And that will allow you to respect that all things belong to God, used for the benefit of humankind, and not for the benefit of a race, not for the benefit of a gender, not for what we call a prince, a queen, a king, a pharaoh, a president, what else they got out there, a pope. No, it's for the human race. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you can't beat this. Ain't nobody on the face of the earth tell you anything that's more dynamic than this. And if you think I'm lying, all you got to do is click on this same video next week, and you will find that maybe 5 people have paid attention to it. Because people are blind, they cannot see, and they do not have a heart. They are dead. But now if you click again, and others who might, 1 or 2 that saw it, click again, that might add up. And who knows? I wouldn't tell you this if you didn't have the potential to change. I would not be here saying this to you. Now this is my Sunday message. I guarantee you this. I stake my life on it. You're going to go to churches today all over America, but you will hear nothing close to this message, because it's not allowed, and since it's not, people don't even know it. And for the most part, if people who might have some inkling of it spoke it, nobody would believe them. In fact, they might leave the church. So until next time, this is Eddie Marcus giving it to you. This is how to create heaven. This is the plan. You know, Clinton, the Republicans might not give you their plan because they don't know how. They're just talking smut. Democrats can't give you their plan because they know their plan is hidden. It's in a secret agenda. But you got this plan, and you, my friend, I want to remind you, you deserve exactly what you get. Eddie Marcus, spokesman and advocate for basic human rights for all people. I say, bye-bye.